horror movie?
What?
Let's make a horror movie?
I wonder what we'll be like then. Brains in jars, I'm going to guess.
We're a long way for God now, son.
Slowly
Coming out of his mouth.
crawling out
Yeah,
of his
that's
mouth,
fucking
stretching
cool.
his skin.
Nice. So he doesn't save them, the bridge goes down, people die, and he's like, oh well, job done. Clarence?
Can we try take two again?
Yeah. All I'm saying is maybe don't trust sentient hats to make life-changing decisions, but...
Thanks for your correspondence, J-Tops.
Welcome to Let's Make an Horror Movie.
Yeah,
Is that better?
it's quite sinister, isn't
Is
it?
it? Welcome to Let's Make a Horror Movie.
Hello, everyone.
That's John.
Yeah, and that's Dave.
Welcome to Let's Make a Horror Movie podcast. This is the slightly absurd, whimsical podcast about horror, in which one of us every episode will write and pitch the other one a synopsis of a horror movie that doesn't exist as far as we know.
Yeah, all original.
That we would like to see. I mean, I don't know if you want to go around saying all original, just willy-nilly.
Not a recycled idea amongst any pitch.
Yeah, well, that's John's opinion, folks.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's basically the nuts and bolts of the podcast. And then sort of before and after said movie pitch, there's a bunch of silly nonsense of varying degrees of silly, and then sort of on a sliding scale of nonsense.
Yes, we start off with some feedback, and then it's culture, pitch, and then some more stuff.
Yeah, so that's four. If you haven't heard us before, that's 4 acts. Act 1, feedback on last week's pitch, as John says. Act 2, cultural...
Milieu,
yeah. I mean, we're continental here.
Yeah.
And
we still are.
Happy Brexit Day, everyone. Yeah. This is the day that the United Kingdom genuinely fucks itself.
I think Dave means say gained our independence.
But not in a nice way. Not in the kind of way that, you know, if you were playing with someone that you liked, you know, you might do it.
Yeah. It's not being done with any dignity, which I think is very telling.
Anyway, look, we're getting off topic. Yeah. We just thought, look, mark the occasion, right?
Of course,
like
it's a solemn
UK independence from sensible ideas and helpful people.
Yeah, and bilateral trade agreements.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit, isn't it?
What a load of wank. It just sounds like a bunch of wank when you say it, John.
It's like the start of Phantom Menace.
It's making me angry. Let's get out. Let's get it done. Let's get it done, yeah? Let's get it done and just...
You've always said that.
Anyway, so third act is the pitch, which is the the main bulk. It's what you've paid with your time and your brain power for.
It's the toy in the Kinder Egg of the podcast.
It's the teeny terrapin for anyone old enough to remember them. So
only one person in the room.
Oh, fucking hell, John. Get a bit older.
I'm
go back, get a bit older.
I'm working on it every
and
day,
then a
mate.
lot of my references will land better.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the fourth act is more of pretty much what you've just heard, but sillier. But it also has a pitch post-mortem, name search, and ideas brainstorm for the name of the movie.
We should have really put in the other acts. This is quite often.
And then everything that we forgot because we're old guys.
Well, one of us is old.
And he has a degrading brain. So anyway, there we go. That's the podcast. Welcome if you haven't been before, and if you have, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. We love you.
Yeah, we really do. Get yourselves comfy.
Welcome to Act 1. No, is it
indecisive South Africa.
Yeah, very. Doesn't know whereabouts South Africa is from.
Yeah. It's all the same, isn't it?
So yeah, Act 1. The main feedback, obviously, is that everyone wanted to leave the EU, so that's what's happened.
The people have spoken. Fucking hell.
Right,
Got to let it go.
So right, enough of that. Act 1, obviously, then feedback on last week's pitch, which was Fertilized Earth.
Yeah, fantastic pitch.
Which, for new listeners, was a sequel that I pitched to John's earlier pitch of Goodbye Tomorrow, which was in episode 13.
Because it is January, as we all know, sequels month.
Oh, yeah. That was what it was called originally before the, is it the Gregorian calendar?
I think it was, yeah.
Came into effect. It was called
some kind of like Greek word.
Yeah, I think it was ancient Sumerian, wasn't it? Yeah. So there was a carving... And it turns out it used to be called Sequels Month. Yeah. So we thought, bring that back. Yeah. Make a few sequels.
Yeah, throw away all that Christian shit.
So anyway, God, right. First bit of feedback is from our North of the Wall, Mothman educated Scottish correspondent J-Dubs.
Hello, J-Dubs.
Hello, sir. He says, hello, Dave. Happy New Year, Governor. But pronounced John, he said. Quick correction to that. He's actually spelled it Guyver. and then pointed out he means Guyver, the kick-ass Japanese anime.
I was about to say that, yeah.
I mean, look, fair enough, J-Dubs. I'd have gone with Governor, had more continuity.
And less kick-ass live-action movie. Let's not be that, man.
Oh, God. Right, he goes, I'd like to start with a complaint. I flashed you 5 times on Flips and given you 7 cabbages on Trevor. No response. Shocking. I might have fucked up the currency. Holy fuck! Dave's non-toilet escort agency was my favourite section to date. Let's test the theory of what Dave would do for money. Can you please provide a price list, Dave? Fortunately, it doesn't push that any further, because, again, for anyone that didn't listen, Act 4 of last episode, Jon implied that my confidence was running high enough that I felt I could start a Patreon and charge £10,000.
You were very, very pleased with yourself.
Yeah, for to spend time with you, and then he asked where I wouldn't go for 10 grand, and I said I didn't want to see people doing the toilet on each other. If I had the choice.
Yeah, because he's quite a princess.
Yeah, I'm really a bit precious about that.
Yeah, quite a prude, it turns out. Not very 2020 of you, mate.
I think in the end I actually did say, depending on who they were, and if their company was good,
of course,
maybe I would go, as long as it wasn't longer than 2 hours, which I thought was massively generous of me.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Well, I don't think you want to mix business and pleasure like that as well. You can go to toilet shows on your own time.
Now, which one's which? Yeah, am I the business or the pleasure? Or is it a toilet show?
I think if you start getting paid to go to toilet shows, it would soon lose its magic. You've been becoming jaded about it. It's just work.
I've seen it all before.
Yeah.
As I said last episode, what else can they do?
Yeah.
There's only so many. Yeah. I mean, if you've got ideas, you can tweet us at LMAHMPod. That's LMAHMPod on Twitter. Instagram us, but they'll probably take it down if you're going to go down that route, I should think.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very anti.
Do they have anti-toilets?
Yeah. Yes, anti-toilet. Very much pro-street defecation, aren't they?
They're very much part of the outdoorsy thing. It's part of the whole Instagram thing, isn't it? Photos of you outdoors. Just a natural progression of that is you defecating outside.
Proudly showing off latest movement.
In beauty spots, though. Like, I don't want to just see any old place. Anyway, I digress.
Yes.
Back to J-Dubs' email. R.E. Pitch. God damn it. You two been watching Game Changers? Awesome Netflix documentary, he says. Enough of the vegan propaganda in your film subtext already. Have you been... What is Game Changers?
I have no idea.
So the answer to J-Dubs is
sense.
no. We haven't been watching that, whatever it is, and thanks for not providing context.
Yeah, but the vegan propaganda, I can see that.
Vegan propaganda. So what was he saying? That I guess you could read my pitch like it was sort of anti-meat.
Yeah.
Because of the compassion I said might be, if they're being harvested. Oh, it's a long thing. I won't get into it.
It's all there, guys. Go back, listen to it. It's all really there.
It's all there, and it's a lot more in between the lines.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, apologies for the serious question, but I was wondering if there is any evidence around the formation of society of youth following a disaster. The picture you painted of urchin life was cool, but I wonder if more order would be established in reality. Don't try and Google this. I'm sure there's a clever listener out there. Besides him, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, another clever listener.
He's actually asking if there's any real world evidence
left,
that kids would or wouldn't create a society of their own. The answer, certainly in written history, I should think there probably are some examples.
Probably.
But fuck knows where they are, and I haven't dug them out.
Idea.
So good luck on that one, J-Dubs. One point about that is it doesn't, as long as it works within its own context. That's my always, so you can suspend disbelief provided that suspension of disbelief never gets broken within the confines of the film. And especially with something like horror or science fiction, which frankly this was both.
Yes, you have to set your own rules of the fiction. And then
live with it.
You have to abide by them. Else it's just nonsense.
So, look, it's not for me to say. I wrote the thing, so I would see it like as long as people thought, no, this works on its own terms, then it almost doesn't matter. Also, I'd make the point that I'm focusing on a small group of people. Well, actually focusing on one person ultimately and his journey, and so really we only see what he sees. So it's perfectly plausible that in other parts of the world where there have been other survivors, other shit's gone down. Stuff's gone in a different direction. It just so happens that in this case it didn't go that way. But, you know, I suppose I'd point you towards Lord of the Flies if you want, because I'm not the first person to assume that kids wouldn't, you know.
I think Lord of the Flies or Hook. Either they're pretty much interchangeable.
I mean, most of my film was based around Rufio. What no one spotted was I just rewrote Rufio and the food fight from Hook as a horror movie set in
oh yeah, future. I mean, I'm getting of your pitch. It did say in memory of Robin Williams because his shadows cast all over him,
and in memory of Dustin Hoffman's reputation, which is in tatters, isn't it?
Stop talking about it, can he?
Anyway, he says the pitch was fucking grim, good grim, but grim.
No, it was amazing.
The sequel appears to have stretched the bleak landscape even further, but provided no significant light at the end of the tunnel, other than a wee drop of sunlight. I like the grudging integration of the alien cattle, but I was hoping for more significant progress before things go eye socket tube face fuck up. Any chance we could see a resistance firing back a successful Hail Mary attack on one of the sky cunts? Or even just a visible thinning of the numbers, perhaps they're moving on to a new planet.
You know what? There was an interesting thing that I think we discussed off air about sequels month, January to the layman, was that we could do sequels to sequels. And then we could build upon this anyway. The original episode was grim and ended on a little bit of hope. There's a bit of fight left in people. Whereas your one started grim, had a bit of hope, and then dashed it against the rocks. But then I would say that could form a good middle part to an actual trilogy.
Yeah, without wanting to get too deep into the weeds, the way I'd seen it was that your episode 13 was the original pitch. I picked it up where you left off, albeit with different characters at a different place. Yeah. But by the end, there isn't a military left.
No.
Most of the adults, if not all the adults, are gone. Yeah. And so that was kind of the ground where I then built from. So I don't want to say it's John's fault, but it's John's fault, so
fair enough.
Suck it.
Sorry, everyone.
No, I'm kidding. Look, that could be a potential... It just feels like a lot to try and cram in.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it a Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, no, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Which I liked, but busy.
I know.
Very busy. He says, I'd love to have seen some harvesting of the meat crop, like we said. You could have linked that to some human resistance to the overlords, bracket sky cunts.
Yeah.
A possible urchin attack as they try and save a favourite beast.
Yeah.
Actually, I quite like that idea.
That's cool. I like that.
I would question the poisoning by black rain. This death is grim and long-lasting. It's not beyond possibility to imagine that some refinement had been made to the fluid over time, potentially even modified by the survivors. Much love to the other feedbackers, brackets Johns.
I'm talking about Johns out there.
You put the shite I provide to shame. J-Dubs.
I don't know. I wouldn't be the one to say that.
Don't be so hard on yourself, J-Dubs.
Smashing it, mate.
All contributors to this podcast are engulfed with love and appreciation.
You're all doing very, very well.
You're all doing God's work.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Just in a way that he wouldn't recognise. Frank has written in.
Oh, hello, Frank.
Hey, Frank. Thanks for writing in. I know you've written in before. It's very exciting to...
Always nice to hear from you.
Get an email from you, yeah. He says, oi, oi, LMAHMPod. I'm doing the accent.
It's a good accent.
I mean, he's written oi,
What's the appropriate call and response to oi, oi? I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
Is it not Savaloy?
Oh, yeah.
Oi, oi, Savaloy.
Right, Savaloy. I can't do it. It's so insincere. I
don't even know what it means. Isn't the Savaloy a sausage?
It is a kind of sausage, yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I feel like it's got to be some sort of rhyming slang.
Yeah, it must be.
Like Kylo Ren.
Yes.
For Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a right Kylo Ren. Ben. I mean, who knew?
All the time.
This is the thing that Abrams hid really well, is his love of Cockney rhyming slang. No one fucking saw it.
No, they don't.
I mean, other than us, obviously, because we're on that level.
Yeah.
But you know,
we are content creators, like him.
Yeah. But yeah, Kylo Ren, Ben. It couldn't be better Cockney rhyming slang if it tried. So there you go. Well done, JJ.
Yeah, good job. In the main.
Wow, that in the main. So he says, "Oi, LMAHMPod. Yes. Loved last week's pitch. Surely there is going to be a third part."
That's my point.
Yeah, quite. All good movies come in threes these days, don't they?
Yeah.
Looking forward to the return of the Sky Cunts.
Yeah.
Which actually could be the working title. So Frank says, regarding Dracula, OMG, how does something so good, episode 1, turn into such toilet?
Episode
Episode 3, so quickly.
Yeah, it really did.
Can you do a pitch for episode 3 where you right the many, many wrongs, please?
Do you know what? That did cross my mind a little bit because I thought they just really fuck it up.
You'd have to do that because I haven't actually got around to watching that yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
you've been through it. You've been through it, but it's a nice idea.
Yeah, no, but I completely agree with you.
Regarding Hollyoaks After Dark,
Yep.
I believe that was introduced to prop up the flagging calendar sales. I'd actually forgotten that.
I bought
but this
calendar
definitely
stuff
buys into my point about how Hollyoaks, 20 years ago, I stress, was largely just about attractive people in underwear.
Yeah.
And so they did have calendars. And
And how best to sell a calendar? Section song. That's what I mean. That's tried and tested. That's just marketing.
He says, such classic episodes, though.
I mean, we all know it.
The boys do Barca, and the other ones as well. I think you got them on DVD, free with the tabloid paper, if I remember correctly. Keep up the good work, chaps. Tally ho!
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, a few people have said to me in passing that they think that it... Because I haven't bothered to Google it, because it's largely irrelevant, but they think that the Hollyoaks episode that we were talking about last time, from 20 years ago, may have been an After Dark, but it wasn't called After Dark.
Yeah.
So before they called the later ones After Dark...
Because it was all in the dark, wasn't it? So it's been...
I don't want to get...
Hollyoaks
I don't want to have to heavily cut another huge section of the podcast.
Hollyoaks pitch fucking black, that was.
Alex has written into the show, the Greek pronunciation of Antikythera mechanism is Antikythera. Which is spelled phonetically for me, so I'm doing my best. Antikythera mechanism rather than Antikythera. Quite pleased that I was quite close.
Yeah, you were in a ballpark.
She's saying, as far as anglicised pronunciations go, I did alright.
Yeah.
Can we please have all of your social media channels? Iceberg, chips. Did you watch Dracula? It's not very good. The first episode is, the second episode has promise, and then it's Moffats all over the place.
Yep, it is.
I think the Hollyoaks Assault episode actually was a special episode, but just later than usual. It wasn't called After Dark at the time. It was just...
really hit a chord with the fans.
It was just a scenes of traumatic nature thing, you know, where they go, the following programme contains scenes of a traumatic nature.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's one of them.
Dave hits record.
I've got an alarm. Yeah, that goes off anytime that.
Your TV fucking turns over. You don't even need context.
She thinks it was after the watershed, but it was still traumatic. She says, has John read The Vesuvius Club?
I have. It's really good.
There we go.
I think there's more than one now, is there? I've got the first one. It was really good.
She says, this is obviously Mark Gatiss, and it's both a novel and a graphic novel. So,
I've not read a graphic novel. I mean, I think I said before, I'm a massive Gatiss head.
Yes.
With the whole league, I'm a big fan of him.
You're a gatehouse.
if you like.
Well, a gatehouse.
Yeah. A gay-tisser.
You're a gay tisser. A gay tisser. All right, no, let's do that.
What did you say? Front something. Where was that going?
A front
gate.
A front gator. I don't know why I'm finding that so funny. A front gator. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. But I prefer your one. You're a gay tisser.
Yeah.
I love that you clarify that kids born in September were conceived the previous Christmas. Yeah. Every episode I'll make one massive clunking error, but I'll say it with such confidence that at first listen, you probably think, oh,
he has to be right. He sounds
so confident about it. I've just got to the escort joke and I look like a lunatic on the tube because I'm trying not to cry laughing. Can we refer to the toilet show nose peg as a Simon?
Have you got Simon with you?
I mean, at the risk of cheesing off Simon Pegg, who will almost certainly never hear this, yes, we are going to now call that Simon, though I can't guarantee that us talking about pegging your nose while attending a show where people defecate on each other will come up a lot. I don't know how much more will come up. I'd like to think loads. Yeah, I'd like to think every episode.
It's all I'm going to think about.
But you can hear more about that on the Boys on Bond podcast, or the best of the UK toilet shows, which was that localised one.
Our podcast, Soaking the Boards.
That's all the feedback I had.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Act 2. No, welcome to Act 2 of Horror Movie. Yeah, there you go. Welcome to Act 2 of Horror Movie. Hey?
I like.
Hey.
It is really intimidating.
Yeah, is it? It's
It
quite.
really is.
It's like I know a lot of South African people, lovely people,
Yeah.
but yeah, the accent sometimes can be real full on. Oh, just in case that's the accent I was that other guy was going for, in case anyone wasn't sure. Do you know what? I was just going to kick off quickly by saying
Kick away.
that one of the podcast favourites, the future Sir Sean Pertwee, is going to be appearing in an adaptation of Agatha Christie's novel The Pale Horse.
Looks very good.
So more to come on that, I'm sure, in future. But it's going to be good, and Sean Pertwee's in it, so more of him, please, in things.
Check back in for more Pertwee news, people. We'll keep you updated.
Besides that, obviously I saw Star Wars.
Yep.
8 weeks late to the party, but I'm not going to get into that.
There's podcasts coming.
There's a lot of Star Wars podcasts, which I'm sure have really gone into it, so fair enough.
It's alright, isn't it?
It's fine.
It's alright.
As I said, busy.
Yeah.
I'm reading Joanna. I'm reading Joanne Fuck. It's spelled Fuchs.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. When you think?
Oh, yes. One of the Belgian fucks.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the title of Joanne Fuck's book is This Is How I Fuck.
It's more of a pamphlet, to be honest, mate.
It's actually just a scribbled drawing.
Which you drew.
I'm Joanne! No, I'm reading Joanne Harris's The Gospel of Loki.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And I really want to make... I hope that's her name, because I don't have it in front of me. I never do this. I never have the book I'm reading in front of me. Which is why I made the After Earth
we are in a kind of studio shed setup.
Yeah, at the top of the Shard.
Yeah.
On Albemarle Boulevard in London. But surrounded by trees. You can't see it. There's a lot of glamour around it.
There is a lot.
Which is why you can't see it unless you're at the top of the Shard.
That's probably why we feel like gods. Because down below, they're all just ants to us.
Well, we can see the Bifrost from here.
We can.
All right. I think that's pretty much me. I've been watching. Oh my god! No, I have to say.
Say away.
No, I owe this to Henry Cavill because for most people,
The Witcher.
most people who hear this won't have listened to whatever episode it was where I said he's a bit Henry Caveat rather than Henry Cavill, which I think might have been like episode 1 or 2, and it was purely based on me not loving his Superman, which I don't really blame him for.
No, he's not the worst thing in those films.
No, he's absolutely not at all. And you know what? Superman's a fucking hard character to do because he's so kind of...
He's very much like broad strokes.
He's a very broad stroke character. Yeah. Anyway, look, so I need to make that up to him because I'm a big fan of The Witcher and he's fucking killing it as Geralt. And that whole show I'm loving, absolutely loving, hands down.
It's fantastic.
I've not even finished it, but I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to eke it out as long as I can. It's great if you like swords.
Yeah.
Blood, fantasy, gore.
A little bit of humour in there as
well.
Bit of horror, bit of... It's just
bit of everything. Basically, if you're listening to this and you like this podcast, you're going to like that shitload more.
It's great.
So there you go. I just wanted to say that because I felt I owed that as a duty of care because he's absolutely nailing it.
He was upset.
Oh my god, he was so... The letters! My god!
He called me that from next night in floods of tears.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was writing the letters, I'm pretty confident were written in blood.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it was his blood or something or someone else's. But,
there's one thing we know about Henry Cavill. He's got a lot of blood.
He was sending me like photos of stuff on the phone and I couldn't even work out what it was. A lot of it was just like a bloody mush.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that someone? Or is that like part of something? Is that an animal? What is that?
And he just said, this is how you've made me feel.
It's really unnerving. Yeah. And then he did that thing, I'm pretty sure it was him. You see Mulholland Drive?
I haven't.
Opened the door one morning.
Yeah.
Brown envelope on the doorstep.
Of course.
So I'm like, oh, what's that? Pick it up, open up, bloody VHS tape. Of course it is.
Classic Cavill.
Dig out the old VHS player.
Yeah,
put it in.
Anti-DVD Cavill.
I mean, that has his fingerprints all over it.
You know straight away who it's from.
He's obsessed with VHS.
He really is.
He's fucking obsessed with it. And he won't stop going well.
He talks about the actual fidelity, the texture. That's all he goes on about.
Anyway, so I'm watching it. I dig out the old VHS player, plug it all up, watching it, and it's him filming himself entering my house at night and filming me sleep. Yeah. Unnerving.
Do you know what though?
Unnerving.
He is light on his feet.
He's got a very soft touch.
He has got a very soft touch.
And gentle.
Yeah, he is. He's a gentle giant.
He is a gentle. So like, I felt threatened. But I knew in it, deep down.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna. I didn't feel like I was really on the...
Yeah, because to be fair, I can imagine the world feels a very safe place in his arms. Even in a situation
He makes
like
you forget, that's the thing, he makes you forget.
It all goes away.
I mean, afterwards we hugged, and as soon as he put his arms around me, I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
I was just bawling into his pecs.
Henry Womb Arms Cavill, we call him.
Womb arms.
Yeah. That's what I've always known.
Anyway, so there you go, Henry. I'm sure you're listening.
Watch The Witcher.
I'm sure you're listening to this, so apologies for that. You're nailing it, and all power to you. Dave humbly doffs his cap.
Yeah.
And The Witch was great.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I've read another Adam Neville book, Last Days. It's unbelievable. He's an amazing writer. Yeah, his new book, his old book, because the one set in Devon/Dorset is his new book.
Right.
Is about a guy filming a documentary about a cult that ended with a certain amount of drama, and it's about the paranormal side of the cult that's never been talked about before, if that makes sense. So this cult happened, bad things happened because of it. There's been lots of documentaries and books about this said cult, but then this guy gets asked to make a film about the more paranormal aspects that have never been made public.
Right.
And it is fucking terrifying.
That sounds...
Genuinely, there's been a couple of times where I've had to actually stop reading for a second.
Really?
Because it's been quite frightening. In a way that I can't even properly describe.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. If I told you the scenes that were scary, you'd be like, well, that's not scary at all. But the way he writes it, he's fantastic.
That sounds great.
I've already ordered the next one of his.
Really? Oh, I need to get them onto my reading list.
So yeah, I got the other re-release of RoboCop. It's fucking great, mate. They
amazing
really
film.
Make it look amazing.
I think that film is a timeless classic.
Yeah, it is perfect.
And just for clarity, we're talking about Paul Verhoeven's one.
Yes.
I don't know who did the more recent one.
Fuck
knows.
I mean, it's not without merit, but it's not. It's nowhere near as close.
Fuck spelled F-U-C-H. Fuck. Fook knows. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I've confused things now.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the original RoboCop, gets the LMAHMPod seal of approval.
Yeah, we saw Faustus, That Damned Woman, which is playing at the Hammersmith Lyric for another about 3 weeks. It's an amazing play, really cool. If you like a bit of horror, it's got a bit of horror in it. If you like a well-written, brilliantly acted play in London, go for it.
And it's a modern retelling?
No, well, I don't want to give anything away, but it's set in the same era that the original is. It was set during the Black Death, so I'm not sure if it is exactly the same.
All right, but it's set during the Black Death.
The same sort of era.
They changed some bits.
Yeah, the main thing they've changed is that instead of Faustus being offered the deal, it's been offered to a woman who's also called Faustus, because it's obviously different. But yeah, but it's basically a woman at the lower rung of society being offered a deal by the devil. And it's very interesting.
I don't want to say anything else in case we spoil it. Hello, welcome to Act 3. Here we are, in Act 3.
This is the pitch.
Here he is back again, eh? Huh? Come back from blowing his nose.
I'm just going to have a quick cigarette if that's all right.
Quick cigarette now, huh? Alright, so John, it's your turn to do a sequel. Yep. It's the second sequel in Sequels Month.
Yeah.
Albeit a little late.
Yes.
Because you had obviously the coronavirus.
I have been a little bit ill as of late.
I've had the Cronenberg virus, but you've had the corona.
Yeah, you've just been hitting people, haven't you?
So I've had the cheap version, basically. The sort of...
swinging your fists in
the French version, but made in Britain.
Yeah.
And you've had the Brazilian version caught in China.
I've had the real version. None of this knockoff shit.
Yeah, a slice of lime in the top.
Yeah.
Like a good Corona. Anyway, just instead of labouring that joke and trying to make that land...
We'll find it.
Come back in Act 4, folks, if you want to hear that joke redone.
Some coronavirus banter.
Hey, well, it's now a global emergency.
Oh, yeah, it's going to kill lots of people.
Well, they say 1 in 10, but I ran the numbers because I'm like that kind of guy for some reason, and it's 1 in 45 at the moment. Yes, so, you know. And this one, though, is spreading more than SARS did. So, it's quite exciting in a morbidly glib sort of way.
And we're overdue as well.
Oh, yeah, well, we've discussed... Look, what's weird is that I wrote Down the Mountain.
Yeah.
Which was only 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Which was all about a global pandemic that takes loads of people
China
out.
have stole your ideas and
China. That wet market in China fucking thiefed my idea.
Yeah, they did.
The thing is, I don't know if I would see the download stats for China because of that red wall. I don't think you get the data back, right? So you just don't know. But they've obviously
not an original idea amongst them. Is
On that tasteful note, John's written a sequel. John, tell us all about it and then kick in when you're ready.
Okay, so it's a sequel to episode 4.
We're a long way for God now.
Exactly. I've set it in Scotland, so I hope I've done it justice.
I hope so too.
I was a bit nervous about this. There's genuinely, there's a couple of bits of it I do want to sort of get clarification on. No real caveats, actually. I've just tried to sort of emulate the style of the original while do a proper sequel to it.
Amazing. So a really, really quick summary for anyone that didn't listen to episode 4, which is what I now class as our early years, where the sound and editing wasn't quite as dynamically good as it is now, and I appreciate it's not amazing now either. Anyway, it was about a Scottish water demon called the Nuckelavee that created Sonny Bean, who's a cannibal who, cannibalised people. Ate folk.
Yeah.
So that's basically what that film was about. Yeah. And at the end, did I kill Sonny Bean? I think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, so we killed the Bean clan, but the Nuckelavee, the water demon, was the one that made him. Yeah. We never saw that again.
And we may see him now.
Well, now I didn't. I just wanted to give people the context. There we go. So when you're ready.
Okay, we pan across a blood-splattered stone floor. A child's arm hints at a body just out of shot. So you've got like a dead family, essentially, scattered all over the floor. You don't really see much of them, but you see enough to know there's a fucking family dead.
Nice. Do we get an inkling of the era?
Not yet.
Not yet?
But it's very much a defined era. And I'll explain why in a moment.
Okay. It's the 80s, isn't it?
yeah, a stone floor.
Die in your arms tonight.
Journey plays.
It's because of all the good music. That's why you said it in the 80s, so that we can have a cracking soundtrack.
Cure poster up on the wall.
Yeah. It's my Love Cats. Sorry.
In the corner is a man in a tattered shirt and trousers. His arms are soaked with blood and gore, but we cannot see his face. His body shakes with sobs, then turns to growls as he lifts his head up. His beard and mouth are caked in blood, but the shadows hide his eyes. Wet streaks of tears glint in the flickering candlelight. He brings one of his wrists up to his mouth and bites deeply. Arterial blood visibly pumps into his mouth, and the excess further soaks his face. He's proper
fucking hell.
And it's like almost like a kind of a hose in his mouth. Do you know what I mean? This bit made my wife feel a little bit sick. He raises his face further with his own wrist still clamped in his mouth. His eyes are empty sockets with unnatural pinpricks of light within them. He gluttonously feeds upon himself. We cut to a hulking blue-cloaked figure shuffling from the property into the dark of the night.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's where we kick off.
And is this a cold open pre-credits?
Yeah.
Or,
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And still no visual cues, so clothing or anything to give us an idea of...
But, I mean, like, the actual next paragraph details.
Fair enough.
So,
fair enough. Getting ahead of myself.
You wouldn't get too much in that, I think, not too much, but it's definitely older.
For anyone, again, that hadn't heard the original, the Nuckelavee water demon wore a blue cloak.
Yes.
So just a
little bit of
contextual information there.
So if you've seen the first one, you'd be like, oh shit, is that the main thing?
Nuckelavee?
The year is 1847, and a potato blight is decimating crops of the Western Highlands. We focus on a village on the River Shiel. Is that the right pronunciation for that?
How's it spelled?
Shiel.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, so I'm hoping this is all right.
I mean, you'll understand that I don't know automatically every river in Scotland.
You've got to know all of it, mate.
Or loch or whatever.
Western Highlands. You were thinking, obviously means a shill. We focus on the village on the River Shiel, where the inhabitants are struggling to feed their livestock. Wheezing and sickly animals wander aimlessly in their pens as the villagers try to make their meagre supplies stretch to feed themselves as well as their animals. We see most of this through the eyes of our protagonist, Patrick, who runs a sheep farm just on the edge of the village. He's in his late 20s and a widower. He's trusted by many, including the head of the village, Caden, who is informal with the villagers, but he's clearly in charge. So he's clearly like the main alderman of the town, possibly.
Yeah.
I couldn't get an exact clarification of what you'd call the head of a village like that.
Big man.
Yeah.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
That's that fell over there.
Yeah. He is the town's big man.
I genuinely stand by that. That's the most accurate term. People up there would know. They'll know.
So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping there's a little bit of cultural preparation with me doing this. Caden informs Patrick that a visitor passing through has told him that the British are marching through the area, forcing people out of their homes and towards the cities for relief. They discuss whether such a thing would be best for the people there, even if it means the end of their village. So to draw like the whole Highland, the last act of the Highland clearances. Because I think we've been going on for quite a while, but now because of the blight, it obviously kicks up a
I think 200 years, maybe.
Yeah.
A long time.
So, I mean, this is very much in the last days of that, when the potato famine was really affecting that part of the world. So we basically get a lot of context of the village at this point. So this is pretty much most of Act 1 is just the village being set, the troubles the village is facing, and also the rumours of the British are coming.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I've skipped over that, but there's a lot there you could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Act 1 ends with one of the older farmers tending the few animals he still has left. He's an elderly man, worryingly thin, and is tearful as he cleans out the almost empty barn. In the fading light, we see a scattering of plants at his feet begin to wilt, and a flat silence falls upon the scene. Night falls unnaturally fast as the farmer closes the door of the barn and moves closer to his animals, just like tending them and everything else. He's clearly unnerved, but he's not quite sure by what. He's on his own. He's obviously he's hanging on to this farm, even though it's not going very well.
He's struggling.
Exactly.
Scrabbling around to survive, to eke out a living. Not even a living, a survival.
Yeah, no, he's just, I mean, he's there mainly for the animals at this point.
Yeah.
Darkness slowly starts to creep into the barn despite the closed door and numerous hanging lights and lamps. The cows weakly turn their milky gaze to the barn door as it slowly opens. A large, copper-coloured skeletal hand grips the inside of the barn at an unnatural height. So it's actually quite high up and it just raises round. A voice croaks from the doorway. Feast. Feast until nothing remains. The farmer grabs a shovel and calls out whoever there to stop fucking about, else he won't be responsible for what he does. At this, the barn door is torn open, revealing a bottomless darkness. The farmer steps forward slowly as the cows begin to bray and shuffle in unrest. He stops a few feet from the doorway. A voice booms from the void. Mine! And a large shape smashes through the doorway and grabs the farmer. We cut to the milky eyes of the cows as the farmer's screams turn to guttural roars.
Nice.
Act 1. Just real atmosphere building stuff at this point.
I love the old animals being the visual, giving you the cues.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. And also in real life as well. Always trust the animals.
Yeah. And also as well, really, I mean, the amount of times cows don't step in.
Oh
when
my
stuff
God.
happens, they just watch on, mate.
Passive observers.
Yeah,
It's called diffusion of bovine responsibility. It's a well-known bovine psychological thing where they just won't.
Mate.
It's because they're always in herds. You see, the thing that a lot of people don't know is if you get a cow on its own, it'll step in.
Yeah.
Because, who else is going to help you? Exactly. As soon as they're in the herd, they're like, fuck this.
They don't care, mate.
Got any milk?
Yeah, they think another cow will do it.
Exactly. Sorry. Just a little bit of facts for you guys there.
Just some classic cow facts.
You know.
in our returning segment.
Classic bit of bovine banter.
Act 2 begins with a small platoon of red-coated British soldiers arriving in the village. At their head is 2nd Lieutenant Spencer, who is barely 25, and tries to implore Caden that they need to abandon their village, else they will all starve. Most of the village are openly hostile to the soldiers, as they know why they are there. The soldiers are mostly very young men and wholly unsuited to the challenges of the Scottish Highlands. So at this point in history, the British Army, after the sort of wars in the previous decades, has been cut back quite a lot at this point. It's the smallest time in this century.
Late 1800s?
So about mid-1800s.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's before the complete rise of the empire, but it's after the wars in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's very much right now a lot of young men are fighting, but there's not much of a standing army. A few of the men already seem sick from the cold and the damp. This is a grim assignment for them, so there's a bit of whinging and muttering and everything else. Patrick listens silently to Spencer's pitch before asking him what would happen if they refuse. They're only too aware of the tactics being used in other towns across the Highlands to move people. Spencer mutters that he would never do anything like that, but he cannot promise that someone else wouldn't. Caden does respect his candour, because fair enough, you aren't trying to bullshitters, but it's a fair warning.
It's better than claiming the right of prima nocte.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Indeed it is. And to be fair, there was a lot of grim stories in those days. So this is to set them aside from...
Yeah. Nice.
And says that the best he can do is allow the villagers to make their own choice. He's going to put it to the villagers about what they actually want to do. He's not going to use his big man right.
He's not just going to get it done.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why he's the big man. He listens to everybody in his village.
In Scotland, we'd say that's how he's the big man. We arbitrarily switch why for how quite a lot.
Of course.
Yeah. How's that? And you'd be like, no, why is that? And then you pick up some of your teeth.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, Dave is just reading all my actual story. That's all in it.
Just second guessing it. Yeah. I know what happens. I know what happens north of the border.
Caden asked Patrick to go to the outlying farms, tell everybody that they are needed in the village to hear Spencer out. Spencer sends his most senior man, Corporal Paul, Sean Pertwee, to accompany him as to show the seriousness of the situation. Caden nods to Patrick that would be fine. Paul seems like a decent man, and him and Patrick soon become friendly enough as they do their rounds going from farm to farm. So it starts off a little bit uncomfortable, but then Paul's a decent chap.
So he's going around with Paul, just so I'm
Corporal Paul.
Certain of what he's going around Corporal Paul.
Yeah. Very good.
Corporal Paul.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do a Sean Pertwee impression.
That's fucking
He's
close.
got a great voice.
That's why I thought for his character, because he would. Cause also, I was thinking.
No one ever talks about Pertwee's voice.
He's got a very good voice.
He's got a good voice.
Yeah, I also wanted to have a character where him and Patrick would actually become genuinely, not like friends, but friendly very quickly.
So just so I'm settled in what I understand. So Patrick and Corporal Paul are going around basically saying to people, what do you want to do? Leave or take our chances here?
I think they're more saying, come to the village.
We're going to talk it out.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to hear the pitch, but you all come to the village.
It's going to be like a moot.
Exactly. It is during the afternoon that they come upon the homestead of the old farmer from previous.
Ooh.
Patrick says that Paul should step back for a minute, as Mr. Barra is a little isolated out here, and not the friendliest sort.
How do you spelling Barra?
Bara. I have done a bit of research on names. I hope that's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to question it. There's an island called Barra, but that has 2 R's. So, don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. Write in, folks.
No man is an island.
That's true. Apart from anyone that stands in the sea, because then technically everyone that does.
Depends how long they stood there.
Does it? Does it a length of time before you're an island? You can be a temporary island.
I don't think. I mean, you can't be that temporary. I was an island here 2 seconds ago. It's not an island then, is it?
Is it not? Well, it's not an island then, because it's gone.
But that'd be like saying that all boats are islands. We're getting off topic.
But a boat isn't anchored. All boats could be icebergs that aren't made of ice.
You do get floating islands.
Boatbergs. So boats are boatbergs, legitimately. But an island would have to be connected to the ground.
But you do get floating islands.
Yes, that's true. Now, it's difficult to tell if this is one of my many confident cock-ups or not. Write in, tweet us at LMAHMPod.
He thinks he knows fucking islands. Quick, pass me the laptop on, write in.
Yeah, I bet you there's a Latin name for an expert in islands. Tweet us, hit us up on Jeremy, tell us on Flips.
Tell us your island facts.
Correct us on our islandology.
What's your favourite island? What's your least favourite island?
So we're in Act 2. They're at the dairy
Patrick's
farm.
Gone, look, mate, you stand back. This is a real cranky old fucker here. I'll have a word. He's not going to like seeing you. I'm just going to go fucking in
Doesn't
there.
like Sassenachs.
He does not. I mean, he's got no time for that kind of nonsense. After getting no answer at the house, Patrick goes to the barn to find Bara. Immediately he sees the ruined doorway as wood is shattered and the doors have been flung off, basically. Inside he sees a few ruined carcasses, but no Mr. Bara. So of all the cows and everything else. He turns and shouts to Paul to come over. As he does, one of the bloodied cow bodies shifts and moves behind him. Patrick turns to see the old farmer, naked and streaked with stains, rising to stand. So I've sort of envisioned that he became so ravenous to feed on them. He's literally inside a carcass, eating it from the inside out.
He's eating his way in, eating his way out.
And he sort of moved up under like a fucking rib cage has come off and it's just slipped off him like fucking like a placenta.
What?
So yeah.
What an analogy.
Yeah.
All right.
So he. Then...
I mean, I just want to clarify that I'm frowning, everyone, in sort of dismay.
Yeah, it's an almost audible frown.
Anyway, sorry, heavily frowned. Carry on.
Naked and streaked with stains, rising to stand. He giggles and drops a cow's head to the floor. He's been eaten from this sort of like neck cavity. Almost.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so he giggles, drops a cow's head to the floor. As the old man turns to face Patrick, Paul arrives and falls back in shock. Bara's eyes have gone and been replaced by blackened pits, with glinting lights just visible within them. Now, there's a little bit of dialogue here. Do you want to read it?
We better be ready for what's coming, boys.
So it's very, very pirate.
Which one? Pirates are traditionally West Country. We all know that. All right.
West Highland.
You better be ready for what's coming.
Yeah, that's great.
You can have the boys. Boys, When he returns, he's going to be famished. You can't believe how tasty you look.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that works.
No, that was great, because I didn't want to read that out. Bara false starts at the two men, causing Paul to unshoulder his rifle, but before he can bring to bear, Bara scampers across the floor into the shadows. His limbs move unnaturally as he seems to collapse himself to squeeze below the boards and escapes the barn. Paul lets off one shot which thuds harmlessly into a hunk of meat. The two men, obviously shaken and confused, head back to the village. Paul bombards Patrick with questions, but Patrick insists he cannot understand what just happened any more than him. Bara was a quiet, salty old sort, but a good farmer with a real steady head. The famine isn't the first hardship he's endured, so what just happened makes no more sense to him than it does to Paul. He's not like he's a normal guy. He's just a bit fucking salty, but he's all right. So we cut to a family who live on a farm a small distance from the village. They discuss the visit they'd had that day from Patrick and some English soldier, so they've already been visited. They hurry down the rough paths as they do not want to miss the big meeting. The wife is carrying one small child and holding the hand of another. All three are distressed about the possibility of having to leave their home, but the children especially are thin and gaunt. The father strides ahead, talking to his eldest daughter, Ailey, about how they may not have much choice. He says they're lucky to have held on to their homes for this long, but with the blight, maybe it is time to go. He's fully aware of the pale sickliness of his children and his wife. During this conversation, the sky darkens. Ailey stops for a moment, saying that it shouldn't be this dark, not yet, so she picks up that it's not quite right. Her father agrees and turns to hurry his wife and children along, but they are no longer behind them. He and Ailey begin to call out in panic, question how far behind they can be. Out of the gloom we see the silhouette of one of the children as it slowly moves towards them. Lights glint from the child's eyes as it gets closer. The father starts to move towards the child as something large moves off to the side of the path, shaking the trees and snapping branches. Ailey calls out to her father as a blue cloaked shape smashes across the path, taking her father with it. Her younger sibling continues to walk calmly towards her, its eyes shining in the darkness. Ailey sees that the child appears monstrous as its jaw swings uselessly from its ruined face. Thick blood pumps down the child's skeletal bare chest, and a soggy chuckle emanates from its ruined throat. Ailey screams and runs towards the village as the other shapes move into the darkness, their presence shown by their glinting eyes. So there's a real sort of we've met another character, it's like, shit, something's coming towards the village now. We cut back to Patrick with Paul arguing with Caden that something happened at Bara's farm, or they struggle to re-describe what actually occurred. Caden agrees that they should go and check it out together despite the dwindling light. Patrick insists that Caden and he arm themselves. Caden reluctantly agrees to take pikes. He's going, look, this was fucking shifty stuff out there. This isn't just a farm who's lost his nut. This thing going on there.
Arm up.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, we'll fucking take some pikes. That's it. And we're not fucking getting too full on here. Spencer all decides that he and a large portion of his men go with him to verify what Paul has said and to ensure everyone's safety. The group sets off, leaving the villagers to congregate around a central church with a handful of soldiers also present. The sky is already beginning to darken as dusk approaches. The soldiers march as the two men lead the way. Darkness has fallen remarkably fast now. All the men are increasingly tense as their visibility is almost completely gone. The lanterns flick a useless glow over them. It's during this that Ailey crashes down the path, absolutely terrified. During her panicking telling of what happened to her family, musket shots ring out through the darkness from the village. Spencer immediately orders his men to return to the village. Caden is confused and worried as Patrick and Paul discuss the possibility that Bara has returned to the village to cause harm. The shaken Ailey sticks close to Patrick as they return home, so they hear like in the background.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, shit, Bara's just fucking lost it.
Exciting.
He's gone to cause trouble there. They return to find an eerily silent village where all the front doors of the homes swing open. Spencer tells a couple of soldiers to sweep the buildings as they advance towards the church. The centre of the village where the church lays ahead in the complete darkness as all lanterns and candles seem to have been extinguished. As they get closer, one of the hanging lights bursts into life, illuminating the large cloaked figure of the Nuckelavee. The light dances over its blue cloak as it sits motionless, its hood pulled over so they cannot see its face. Caden calls out for the actual villagers and moves ahead of the group. Spencer orders the soldiers to form up into two lines. The large shape begins to rise to a standing position, its huge sides becoming clear, and the blue cloak retreats into the night, revealing its form. At first glance, it appears to be a skinless rider atop a huge horse, but the man and horse are all one. With the skinless male body growing from the creature's back, ill-proportioned arms hang from the human torso, where they end in skeletal, almost elegant fingers. Taut, uncovered muscles move on the horse's body as it trots towards the actual soldiers and Patrick and the group. The skinless beast has a coppery hue in the lantern light, and warm breath hangs in the air around the eyeless horse's skull. This one of its faces. Across the human chest, an old leather satchel sways with the movement of the beast. The head of the rider is almost bisected by the mocking grin of its cavernous mouth. Bloodless cartilage tenses in its face in a rictus expression of cruel joy. A spitting fire flickers in the pits of its eyes. As it moves, the glinting eyes of its creations twinkle around it like stars. Overhead, lanterns splutter into life, revealing the ruined and blood-soaked doorway of the church, hinting at the horrors that just happened there. Panic takes hold of the soldiers as they lower arms in terror. Only Paul lets off a shot, which goes wide. This rouses Spencer, who orders his men to fire a volley at the creature and its horde. As they fire around, the horse creature rears upon its gigantic hind legs, and the ruined human figures around it surge forwards. Pellets tear chunks off the advancing horde, and some fall broken to the floor. The first line of soldiers kneel and reloads, while the second releases another volley, again ripping into the creatures, but to little success. As the monsters close distance to the soldiers, Caden, Patrick and the soldiers step forward with their weapons. As the grotesque creatures fall upon the defenders, Annie sees her father and screams angrily at his now corrupted form. The Nuckelavee's creatures rush to the survivors, and a bloody fighting ensues. The creatures skit and crawl across rooftops to gain advantage over the troops, who are now, with the bayonets and muskets, putting up a valiant fight. Caden manages to face the Nuckelavee and swings at it with his pike. The creature catches his weapon with one of its pendulous arms and snatches a man up in the air with the other. It lifts Caden's to its grinning mouth and breathes out a wave of heat, which strips the flesh from the man's face. As it does this, Ailey grabs the discarded pike and swings at the torso, cutting the strap of the leather satchel. Scores of eyes tumble from the bag as the Nuckelavee rears back in surprise, dropping Caden's body. In its shock, it tramples and bursts many of the eyes that fall to the ground. It turns to Ailey, his mouth a mask of fury. Patrick moves alongside the creature and with his sabre... Sorry, I missed a bit here. Paul had his rifle and then gave his sabre to Patrick.
Right.
Who to give him another weapon. Patrick moves alongside the creature with his sabre and scores a gash upon its flank. This causes it to flail its gigantic arms. It smashed Patrick aside. It rears up and slams both legs down towards Ailey, who tries to move out of the way, but her arm is brutally ruined in the process. The Nuckelavee roars in frustration and the surviving soldiers advance upon it. Most of the glinting-eyed figures have retreated away from the fight, having seen the Nuckelavee actually becoming damaged.
Right.
Some lie lifeless on the ground amongst the bodies of the dead soldiers and other villagers. Musket shot slams into its skinless body as it tries to scoop up the eyes from the floor, but many of them run through its bony fingers like raw egg. So it's almost trampled its own prize in the fight. So the eyes have fallen out and it's just sort of squashed half from trying to get to them. Mine, how dare you take mine away from me? How dare you, it screams. But it's already retreating as the defenders push forward with their weapons. Soon it gallops off into the dark with its last glinting eye winks out in its wake. So like all the creatures all retreat.
Yeah.
We end on a couple of surviving soldiers helping the wounded and piling the dead. Patrick is wounded, but broadly speaking is okay. He's just been slammed into a wall and stuff. He tells Spencer that this is their country, and they've bled too much for it to just leave it behind for this creature to return. It's a blight that must be stopped, as no one else cares about this land but them. He does ask that the platoon burn this accursed place to the ground while he buries the dead. Paul sits by the badly injured Ailey and tells her they were probably not better to save her arm, because as it trampled it, crushed her arm.
That's going to be fucking painful.
Yeah. Ailey can barely hear him as she stares into darkness after the Nuckelavee, her other farm clutching a sabre with white knuckles. And that's the end.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just use the sabre, do it fucking now.
Yeah, so it's just
retreating off. It.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about surgery.
It's gonna be grim.
Surgery
it's
that
gonna
time.
Be grim.
It's going to be painful as hell.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've left it too open-ended.
Welcome to Act 4. It seems on theme now.
Yeah,
We're just done, a good Nuckelavee.
It's your basic, like...
I'll do the next episode. I'll do full Nuckelavee intros. But congrats, mate.
Yeah, thank you. What did you think? I mean, just a quick caveat. I am still a little bit under the weather, so my reading wasn't great on that. I hope it was still clear what I was saying.
No, I heard you. I heard you. I think it's quite epic. That third act, or certainly the climax,
it definitely, I wanted to do a bit of an action scene.
It's going to be quite a lot, and I think the introduction of the soldiers lends itself much more to a slightly wider scope.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. Also, what I kind of wanted,
and that whole context of the times, the soldiers, the politics of that, and the clearances.
See, what I wanted to do a little bit with the motivation of the Nuckelavee itself is that because it's based in kind of like the Orkney Islands and all that kind of area, because of the clearances and the blight itself, it's been forced to move down. So this may not be the first place it's been to, and this may not be the first place it's actually ruined. So the blight isn't its fault, but it is kind of being forced to move just because of that. And this is the first village that really puts up an actual defence to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool concept. I think, obviously, as with all of them, we'd have to flesh out a bit more. I think we need a bit more of a clear protagonist. I guess the protagonist is
probably Patrick. Yeah, I mean,
so I think he and maybe perhaps some of his immediate family or whatever, or needs a bit more fleshing out, because then you can give a lot more context to the soldier. I think the soldiers initially should be bringing fear of all of its own.
Exactly. Yes. There's a lot of tension there.
Exactly.
Because although these soldiers do help them, that's
not what you'd be thinking when they first get there. To get that, you need to have it grounded with Patrick and...
Yeah, because one of the things that I was quite careful of, because obviously I'm aware of the fact that this is Scottish history, and the clearances of the previous decades had been a lot more brutal, and it's a lot crueler, because they were just literally for their own political gain. At this point, they are offering actual relief, but they are also taking advantage of the situation to get what they want, which is to move everybody from the Highlands into the cities.
There should be a palpable sense of fear, I think, that we generate through exposition.
Yeah, definitely.
Through the locals, through Patrick and other locals. But all the main points are there.
I didn't want it to be like, oh, these are good British soldiers.
So I think a bit more characterization, exposition in a fuller script with the locals, and then the soldiers in general, and that I think is a nice touch. I think it needed that, because otherwise it sails too close to the first pitch or the first film.
Yeah, I was suddenly just going to escalate.
It changes a lot. It introduces a whole new dynamic, and I think it would be really cool to see stuff from their point of view too, for all the same reasons, frankly.
Yeah.
I like how, again, you have them all joining forces to fight the common threat. I think in my original pitch, I didn't have him as the horse guy, but at the end I said that's what he, these two guys in Orkney made up.
Because I listened back to your one, and it's largely just the blue cloaked figure.
Yeah, so I don't give any detail.
So I was kind of thinking I could probably make it work.
It still works. That's what I think. I think that was really cool, because you see so little of him in the first movie, because he actually isn't. He's not the point.
He's just
the point of the first movie is he just happens to create a cannibal, or a sort of possessed cannibal, whatever. And then he's gone in the first 5 minutes. And so then when in this movie, if you were seeing it as a sequel, you wouldn't expect anything more than that, would you? Because why would you? You'd think we'll just probably have the same thing again.
Like Agent of Chaos,
but instead, you've brought him in as the sort of main bad.
Because one of the things I liked about the Nuckelavee is that it's a demon who essentially seems to be working against Scotland. Because like most of the folklore, there tends to be a mixed message of what they do and why they do it. Like the whole will-o'-the-wisp, sometimes they lead people out of danger, sometimes into danger.
Yeah.
The actual Nuckelavee is just a prick. I think I saw one of the pictures, he did have a kind of like satchel.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's full of ice.
What else would it be?
Why do you have a satchel?
That's where I keep my eyes.
Yeah, two things in a satchel. Laptop, eyes. That's it.
Yeah.
And this is way before laptops. So ergo, eyes.
Ergo, just where the laptop would be, full of more eyes.
Full of eyes. A laptop's worth of eyes. I also quite like the idea...
That's where the eyes have it comes from, because a lot of people know that it was actually the eyes have IT, not it. Yeah. And it was just a misunderstanding laterally that it's become a different thing.
And the iMac.
Any idea of names? We called the first one A Long Way From God. Yeah, God, that doesn't instantly lend itself to an easy sequel, does it?
Really doesn't.
A Long Way From God 2.
I mean, there's like obvious ones like Plague God or something, but that invokes a bit of Nurgle.
Long Way From God Part 2.
You could call it Further From God. It's a little longer.
Further From God's not bad, actually. The problem is, if we did do that, then we have God in the title again.
Yeah.
Which would mean that the third film would have to have God in the title as well. And the thing is, the only reason we called the first one A Long Way From God is because that's what one of the characters said when they understood what was happening and they rode out to meet him.
Away from God?
Let's try and come up with some that don't have God in the title.
Alright.
I mean, you could just call it Nuckelavee.
Yeah. Where...
Cannibal Highland Cost. No? No? You getting that? Getting that pun?
Yeah, Scotland Pike Massacre.
Village Cannibal Club.
yeah. That's a load of words.
LLC. Nuckfuck. Yeah, really throwing shit at the wall now and see what comes out.
Highland hijinks.
You could call it Nuckelavee Country.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's quite good.
No Country for Nuckelavee. No Country for Scotsmen. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not a zoologist.
Yeah.
But one can imagine it must be pretty rough.
You're not that woman who...
Oh God, what? Threw herself in the polar bear pen?
No, there's that woman, the famous one, who apparently got a little bit involved with them.
With...
Yeah, didn't she give a hand job to one?
Oh! Did the old...
hand shandy.
The old hand shandy.
Yeah.
With, male gorillas. I don't know if it was more than one or more than one time. I don't know. But the reasoning was that basically she argued that it made them a lot more placid and favourable towards her.
Yeah, I mean,
To be fair, wait, you'd wank off a gorilla, or you'd be a lot more placid and favourable to the person that wanked you off.
Also, as well, I mean, they're dangerous animals.
Yeah,
very dangerous.
I mean, I would say it was a very brave thing to attempt.
Yeah.
Setting aside the ethics of it for a moment.
You don't want your last thought to be, I should have tried it. Should have tried that. As it sort of takes
because I'm sure that probably would be. As you're getting smashed to death by a silverback.
I should have wanked it off.
Do you know what? I probably should have given that a hand job. I wonder if that would have worked.
It's worth a try.
Yeah.
And, she's still with us. The actual logic behind the act, it holds. I have no judgment whatsoever. Because, I mean, in no situation, give it a shot, wouldn't you?
Well,
if they're getting testy, and then you're getting a little bit, I don't know if I can get out of here.
Okay. I'm going to take the hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Let's get involved.
Yeah.
Silverbacks,
yeah,
big, strong, terrifyingly big strong,
fuckers,
wonderful creatures, but fucking terrifying if you're up close to one. I just don't think at any point, if I was in the wild with a gorilla, I don't think I'd at any point think about just reaching for its genitals.
No, but
think about those moments.
Yes.
Think about the beats between when you start reaching for its cock and the point at which it understands what you're doing and goes, I'm just going to let him carry on. I reckon there's going to be a minimum of 20 seconds. A minimum.
I don't mean to
but it'll feel like an eternity. and in that time,
locking eyes
in that time, the sheer fear that it will just mush you in the face. It would just take your head off.
I would say my mental image of this was that she wasn't reaching for a flaccid penis. She wasn't.
He was already on the.
Yeah, he wasn't having lunch and then she was just like sitting, mashing it down. I imagine she was reading cues.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. She wasn't just like, I wonder what'll happen if I try this.
Yeah, there was
Instead, it was more like, dog's got a bone sort of thing.
There's a few visual tells that her as an expert would have gone, I know what it is. I've been doing this for 20 years without learning a thing or two.
I know what that means. Okay, fair point.
I'm on our side.
Well, look, let's just update the hypothetical to include that.
Yeah.
So a fucking silverback gorilla is next to you with a hard-on.
Yeah, he is.
You're telling me you're going for it. So you're going in fast or slow? Are you tentatively reaching, or are you just like grab?
No,
is it like a boom?
You have to start slow and then
No, but like it's an animal. So any gesture in its direction, it's on it. It's watching for any movement of threat or potential danger to itself or its co-gorillas, right?
Yeah.
So are you You're standing, your arms by your side.
Yeah.
Or maybe up around your chest. I
I'm
don't know. Maybe
thinking
one of them's over your mouth in kind of shock, and you gasp. Right?
That's playing coy.
So
You little flirt.
Sort of coquettish. Yeah. And so you're standing there, and you're using your hand like a sort of Japanese fan.
Yeah.
In front of your mouth.
Yeah.
And
in case you're in the gorilla.
Its penis is at a full arm stretch.
Yeah.
Now, are you crossing that distance with your arm slowly?
Yeah.
Like looking it in its eyes, like this is okay. Don't worry, I'm slowly reaching down and I'm just grabbing it. Or are you just gonna whoomp like a lizard's tongue when it's like gets a fly at the end? You know, like which one?
I mean,
because your life depends on it.
I would say that most primates aren't far enough. They are similar to us in a lot of ways.
The reason you're doing it, remember, is it's perceiving you as a threat.
Yeah. If
you're not worried about it, why are you doing it?
No, but
just because it's there. If it was only that easy, John, in real life.
I don't think it is ever acceptable to snatch at some genitals. Regardless of the species divide or anything. So I would say the social contract we worked to already would still apply. I would say that the gorilla would be presenting you with options with its eyes. So you're sitting next to it by the bank. As in the riverbank.
Yeah, not a catch point.
Outside Lloyd's. You sit next to it by the bank, enjoying like the sort of pitter patter of the water, and it sits back.
And you look down.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, this has gone.
And its lip moves in a way that's a snarl, but it's not quite there.
Suddenly, this has moved from a case of survival instinct to just a kind of slash fiction fantasy version of you and a gorilla. Where it's sort of coming onto you is basically the way you.
I think that's what happened because I don't think she came onto the gorilla. If it was done, it was done very much to calm the beast.
Yeah, I think it's very much utilitarian rather than romantic.
Definitely, it wasn't curiosity.
It wasn't romance.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, she's got experience in these creatures that we do not have.
So she thought, as far as we know, she thought it would ingratiate her with the gorillas, I guess.
Yes. I do know, but I know about gorillas and primates, is that when they go through adolescence and get quite horny, they get incredibly dangerous. That's when you start losing
and this
faces.
Is my point was always that this is at the point where you're going, and I'm now going to grab for its junk and try and...
I mean, this to grab. It's to grab. I mean...
So you're saying you wouldn't grab it. So what would have to... You would only consider it if it's presenting it to you.
Yeah, and then you would like hand on the knee.
Wait,
and then finger walk up its...
Oh, no.
Finger walk up its thigh.
That's horrible. That's fucking horrible.
Mate, we've all been here. We know how these things work.
God.
No,
I know you'd like to think you'd give it a go. I'm not sure.
I just
I'm not sure you would.
I do not want my final thoughts to be, I should have tried wanking it. And, I've always said that, mate. And I stand by it. You know what? All listeners, do you agree with me?
Actually, that's a great point. This is an audience participation podcast after all.
If you felt suitably...
What? Where the hell was that going?
Cut all of that.
No. This is definitely staying in.
No.
Write in and just give us your thoughts on what the hell has just been discussed. Anyway, so what were we going with? We're going with the...
Nuckelavee country.
Nuckelavee country.
No,
Alright, done.
That's
good. I think that's solid. I'd also like to say hello to all our international listeners.
Hello out there.
You know who you are. We don't, but I'm fucking pleased to have you.
We will find you.
John has a very particular set of skills.
Yeah, I do.
It's the internet.
yeah.
On that table saw. Boom.
On that table saw, you will die.
Let's make a horror movie, everybody.
Bye.